So I think I'm going to read a little bit, and then Carolyn's going to read a little bit, and I'm going to read some from the book, because I'm here hawking the book. I'm out on the book tour. In fact, it's the last thing I'm doing before I get a week off, a month and a half.
A week?
A week off after a month and a half.
Be home and you can do the dishes, catch
Yeah,
up.
the dishes are all piling up there. So, I'm going to read the first story in the book, which is super short, and then I'm going to read a few pages from another story. And I'm going to stand up. And so you guys are you good? We're all mic'd and everything's good? Wow. It's so, usually writers and technology don't mix. Usually there's like a requisite. I do these certain events and I actually put together a PowerPoint just as a joke because it never works. I just have it. Maybe I don't even have it on there anymore. I don't know. This is called Sleepover. Ed and I were making out by candlelight on the couch. Pammy was in my bedroom with Ed's brother. She wanted to be in the dark because her face was broke out. We were wishing your head could be on Pammy's body, Ed said. You two together would make the perfect girl. I took it as a compliment. Unlike Pammy, I was flat-chested. Ed kissed my mouth, my throat, my collarbone. He pressed his pelvis into mine. The full moon over the driveway reminded me of a single headlamp or a giant eyeball. Ed's tongue was in my ear when Mom's car lights hit the picture window. Ed slid to the floor and whistled for his brother, who crawled from the bedroom on hands and knees. They scurried out the screen door into the backyard and hopped the fence. Pammy and I fixed our clothes and hurriedly dealt a hand of Michigan rummy by candlelight. You girls are gonna ruin your eyes, Mom said, switching on the table lamp. When Mom went to change her clothes, Pammy whispered that she'd let Ed's brother go into her pants. Her hair was messed up, so I smoothed it behind her ear. Too bad this show isn't in color, Pammy said later, when we were watching Frankenstein. While the doctor was still cobbling together body parts, Pammy fell asleep with her small, pretty feet on my lap. I stayed awake, though, and saw the men from the town band together to kill the monster. So I'm going to read a little bit from the title story. And when I first, I didn't think I could write this title story. And then after I wrote it, I was like, I'm never reading from that. And now it's like my favorite story to read from, weirdly.
You're going to read about the machine.
Yeah, I'm going to read about, well, we're thinking we might, if we run out of talking about place, we're just going to talk about men.
And dogs.
We like men.
Dogs and men.
Yeah, and donkeys. So.
And donkeys.
The thing that was
two donkeys.
Yeah, I can make a donkey noise as well. This is a story that's preposterous to write, and it's a story that's written by a woman who has just had a stroke and therefore cannot talk anymore. And she's telling a story inside. She's realizing the story she needs to tell in her head. It's a preposterous story to write because nothing happened. She's lying in the bed. So immediately, when you all know as writers, when you get the most preposterous idea, then you have to write that story. So it just is how it happens. But she's saying a lot of things, and her daughter, she's an old farm woman, and her daughter has become a women's studies professor, which does not please her, this old farm woman. So I'm just going to read a section from the middle. And so imagine she's just thinking this in her head. All the men added together made the solid world. They were the marbles in the jar, and women were whatever sand or water or air claimed the space left between them. That's how I saw things as a young woman. That was my women's studies. Now, I've come to know that women are like vodka poured over men who melt away like ice cubes. It was a man who broke my nose, Bennett like it is now. I let you kids think that big paint gelding had kicked me again. Patchy Pete was that horse's name. black and white like a Holstein cow. I bought him for $200 and ended up selling him for $200 after a year of getting kicked and bitten and thrown. I would have dressed him out for dog food or fed him to you kids if he hadn't been so gorgeous. But a good-looking horse, like a good-looking man, can always find a place in somebody's stable. Men climbed into my bed after they fenced my pasture, after they messed with the furnace and changed the oil in my Chevy truck and Ford tractor. They climbed into my bed after their wives threw them out. We needed their help. There was so much work to do around here, and mostly they were nice. I'm still alive, if barely, and a lot of angry wives are long dead, including Bill Theroux's wife, who wore herself out bitching about me, if you want to know the truth of it. When I was a teenager, my friend Julia said one day, "We gotta look pretty." I shaved my legs for the first time, and it took a long while to stop the bleeding. Us and 2 other friends got hold of a 6-pack, though we didn't like the taste of beer. We carried the bottles to where some men lived and reclined on their couch, ankles crossed. We didn't know how to talk to men, so we just smiled, and silence hung above the bag of pretzels they brought out until the men started to laugh, until we laughed with them. They were older and muscular and smelled of smoke and solvents from the repair shops where they worked. One man had a glass eye, said he'd been shot. When he popped it out, we were all possessed by a powerful desire to hold the blind thing in our hands. Julia touched it first and passed it around. She got pregnant right away, and the rest of us followed. And for a lot of years, we raised our children, fed our husbands, worked hard at low-paying jobs or jobs that didn't pay at all, and learned just how tired a body could be. Those men took me by surprise, but I never looked back. I never stopped singing love songs. I never longed for a time before men. Men's machines still sing to me. Revving chainsaw, motorboat, log splitter, rototiller, leaf blower, generator humming, cordless drill, rattle trap tractor, power washer, hedge trimmer, biting grinder, motorcycles with mufflers torn off, diesel trucks chugging in the driveway. You remember those men who came to me after a fishing trip up north and filled my wringer washer with smelt? "Come out with us and play," men used to call, like tomcats, and out I went. That old wringer washer was never the same after all them fish. The men who came around never passed up an easy target, so they killed all the rabbits. I meant to sew a blanket from the soft skins to replace my own skin, which I imagined wadded up under the bed in my room, smeared with menstrual blood, stiff with sperm, stretched by pregnancy. For years, I'd warmed myself in the borrowed skins of men. I was good at cutting pelts from flesh, muscle from bone. After partying all night, a passed-out man might resemble a great cut of meat in my bed, or on the couch or the floor, leathery bronze shoulders and a fish white behind. Men inhaled great swaths of oxygen, exhaled smoke and sweat, so sometimes I could scarcely catch my breath. I remember finding you and your brothers fishing through a man's wallet, like grubby elves. "Shoo, shoo," I said, and the men slept on. After your daddy left, I tried to raise you to know men and not to fear them, so you wouldn't be taken by surprise. I figured that if any of them bothered you, you'd make a fuss, the way you made a fuss when I wanted you to get out of bed early and haul buckets of water from the creek when the pipes froze. Of course you were scared of your daddy. He was a fearsome man, and he scared me too. But you could have whined and glared at them other men, the way you did at your poor worn-out ma who tried to feed and clothe you with no money. How was I supposed to know there was trouble the way they pulled you onto their laps? If you never told me you didn't like it. It seemed like you were having fun when they said how pretty you were. You were never the kind of kid who smiled, so I couldn't tell.
a hard act to follow. Mine doesn't have any sex in it. It's post-sex. This is dedicated to Katie, my adopted cousin, who edits. Right there, it's her right there. Oops, the wrong one. I got the wrong one. I meant to pick up the other one. It's in here though. Can't believe I took that on.
No, you're very self-contained. They tried to take her stuff away at the Coat Shack at the National Book Awards last night.
When I got off the train, this cop ran up to me and gave me money. She said, "You're dropping your money, you're dropping your money." Well, I thought I must have been, but I didn't. I thought I was being more careful than that, and because I was getting money out for, the porters to pay them for helping me. But I got back to the hotel room and they were like ones and five. I didn't have any ones and five. I had fives, but not all mixed in with these ones. It was somebody else's name. Oh, I can't believe it. So I don't know where that one went. Katie spotted it when it was on the table.
Here comes the editor.
Is there two?
Sorry.
And now I don't think
It's all
it's up
wet
there.
in here, so.
It's okay. Here it is.
And we will ask you
See, I
guys
can't do anything louder.
after we read and talk, and we'll talk ourselves a little bit, and then we will ask you guys for questions. So we hope you guys have some questions for us.
Yeah.
Because then for sure we know you want to hear us.
Yeah.
You know, we never know.
That's
We're
the
just
thing, and then
talking
you know
to
there's
each
a,
other.
it's that or jokes, because when people
Yeah.
laugh, if they don't laugh. I read once in the Donnell Library, there was all these subway things going, I can't remember if they were over us or under us.
I'm saying
And
drowning out.
everybody's, had these mean looks on their face the whole time. Oh, and then once you see those mean looks, then it's hard to crack jokes or, I did the reading, and then they said, now there's snacks in the kitchen. And I went up and they were all so nice. They were all nice and warm and everything. I mean, what they just couldn't hear me with the sound of the subway when I was cracking my jokes. But they really were nice. All right, as short, it's just a little piece out of my last book. And I don't know if I need to explain anything, but I'll think of it as I go along if there is something. But it's, this place, this hour is just plain old Maine. Gordon feels today as though there is nothing left to know in life. Nothing that matters more than this bright, white gray day. He feels thin and sad and wise. Though he has had some days lately where his old silliness has visited him, his teasy twinkle in one eye. Yeah, outrageousness and goofballness are like weather. Sometimes his weather is fair. The kids walk with him out to the edge of the woods. They say that they have a surprise. They all wallop along the snow semi-deep. The surprise is behind the large solar cottage where Aurel and Josie and their kids and Jane live. And Jane's along for the adventure. No secret agent heart-shaped glasses today, just a new look in her eyes, a stirring. I should also dedicate this to Secret Agent Jane over here. This is my agent. Now, she is my secret agent, but also when my granddaughter, who was staying with me during the time I was trying to write this book in the 90s, she was a little tight. And I was writing Jane with like, oh my gosh, she has these tantrums, she does all this stuff. And Jane sent me a book from a psychologist wrote, saying there's nothing wrong with them, it's the type kid they are. And it was very helpful, because it turns out she's an introvert, and she was very cautious about it, and having tantrums when she felt. But anyway, she sent these heart-shaped glasses and a little tea set for my granddaughter, and my granddaughter's going around with glasses. And it kind of got picked up into the book. So she's in 2 of the books, Secret Agent Jane, but she's the secret agent, really, really. The air is nice. The day is not cold. Smells perfectly of the inscrutable, goodly, drear woods. All over the snow are the heart-shaped tracks of gray squirrels who have been here earlier, hop-bounding from tree to tree. And now the marks of human feet and the round print of Gordon's cane. He's been injured, so he's got this cane. And trouble with his speech now. So Jane and Carmel, Aaron, Lindsay, and Dara, see this is what comes after sex, lots of kids, and have been sticking with him. But Ricardo, his name is really Eric, but he calls himself Ricardo because he's really classy. Has abandoned them way off ahead there, pulling the baby fast on the toboggan. This is Natty's baby. Natty, baby not very old. And so someday, the baby will not remember this, only in some whiffy gray way. This baby has no thumbs, 10 fingers instead, a birth defect, it is said. He's dressed in a way that makes him look like a troll, layers and layers of flannel and fur and wool, all in bright colors and embroidered in more colors, purple and goldenrod, gold, scarlet, blue, forest green, pointed hood, tassels sewn on the point. The baby has big eyes. Gordon feels he has big eyes too. Out here is one birch tree, and it is hung with brightly painted bird feeders. The surprise is a trick where they lay the baby in the snow and cover him with sunflower seeds. Today, this baby will do. Then everybody leaves the baby alone, waving his arms, talking to himself. In no time, the baby is covered with chickadees. Kind of creepy at first thought. But after you see the baby is talking louder and waving harder and singing, you know how they do, you realize it's okay to the baby. Awesome, actually. Gordon stands with both hands on the cane, smiling crookedly, and all around him, the girls and Ricardo are also smiling, glancing at each other to connect without words. And while the chickadees flit to and fro, removing all the seeds from the baby, the gray sky grows whiter and more fortified, readying itself for another big snow. It is so soft, so quiet, so full. Sound could be something that is part of ancient history, this earth having evolved now to perfect silence. Until Gordon huskily whispers in his new stammering way, "If I lie down here, will you cover me with seeds? Got enough seeds?" "We got 10 million seeds," Lindsay assures me. They watch while Gordon arranges himself in the snow, his legs out straight, arms spread eagle, his dark hair long enough again to open out halo-ish around his head. Then the seeds go on. "I feel like a bagel," Gordon jokes. Lindsay and Carmel pat him, pretend to press the seeds in. "Funny bagel," Carmel teases. Gordon aches from the push of many palms, that bright ache of the settlement's inexhaustible heart and mind, of its wrists and of its careenings. He hears the boot scrunches of them all standing back now, and almost instantly he's blanketed with little feet and wings that go brr, like soft breaths. The birds do not weigh anything. Perhaps altogether they weigh as much as the human soul, which is said to be 2 ounces. There are even seeds on his face and in his dark and graying beard. So a chickadee walks on his forehead, its little toenails. He can feel them, but so lightly he wonders if he is mistaken. He feels the seeds lift away. Mostly what he feels is the brr, brr of the wings, the little disturbance of air caused by the wings.